Hey guys, Chris Rood here, and I got the famous Big Momma Rood with me. On today's video, I want to talk to you guys about, this is kind of a controversial topic, in this day and age where they're promoting some of the most degenerative, most unethical, some of the most disgusting things on TV, social media, you name it. I wanted to talk to you guys about what a real marriage looks like, right? And how you can strengthen your marriage. Maybe if you're, in a failing marriage, maybe you're in a marriage where you're thinking about quitting, right? And before you be like, oh wait, this is going to be a video on a guy that, thinks he knows everything about marriage. Well, I would tell you, I know a thing or two. I've been with this woman for 25 years.
Yes.
She got me pregnant when I was a junior in high school at a private Catholic school when I was 17. So I'm kind of stuck with her, right?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, we've been together 25 years, high school sweethearts. Got pregnant. I got her pregnant when I was 17, junior in a private Catholic school. We've been through the ringer, right? And when I say
it wasn't always perfect.
No, it
wasn't always easy.
Not perfect at all, not easy. But I wanted to make this video just so I can give maybe some perspective on how we managed to stay together all these years and how we still, and look, it's not perfect. We still fight. I still have to beat her every now and then and, put her in her cage and things of that nature.
Okay. But
overall, she's a good girl, right? No, seriously. I want to give you some practical advice on, especially if you own a business. I'm going to give you advice on what I know and what I've done, not what I think or my opinion. And I can tell you, with being with the same one for 25 years, it's a constant evolution and changing and pursuing your
betterness.
What's that?
It's pursuing just betterness for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Because who you are when you're 17 is not going to be who you are when you're 37.
No.
Right? And who you are when you're 27 is not going to be who you are when you're 47. Meaning you're constantly evolving. You're constantly changing. And I can tell you the first thing I'm going to start with is making sure that you're constantly growing and growing together. What does that look like? Meaning that you're pursuing personal development together. if you follow me, I'm a big personal development junkie. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate investor. Been an investor in real estate. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 22. Real estate investor since I was about full time, about 30. So we have a hectic life, and I can tell you it's controlled chaos, right? It's really controlled chaos.
I think we like it that way, though.
Yeah, we do. So I'm giving you, and I'm telling you this because I'm giving you perspective from an entrepreneurial, real estate style kind of business owner marriage. I can't give you any perspective on anything else but that because that's all I've been all my life. So our life is very hectic, and not to mention we had 5 kids. We have 5 kids together. First thing I would tell you, you better understand the personality of your wife or husband. I would tell you that's probably the first thing you need to know is what's the personality type. If you haven't taken the DISC test, which most entrepreneurials are a high D, a driver, and we both took the test. She's going to be she's an influencer style personality where she's got the cheerleader personality. If you understand that right there, that's probably 50% of your problems. If you know and understand what kind of personality you have.
And funny enough, most people who work out in marriage really well are opposites.
Opposites, that's right.
Like what I'm good at, he's not good at. What he's great at, I'm not good at. So it's like you mesh really well. But I would also say we communicate.
Yes.
Amazingly. Like we don't hide anything. No. We don't withhold information or anything. Like we're very open.
And when I say we don't hide anything, like nothing. I remember when I was like 25 years old when a bachelor party and I almost kissed a girl. You remember that? When I was 25? I came back home and told you.
Whose party was that? I don't remember.
I don't know whose party that was. It was one of my friends from high school.
And you had to come home and tell me?
I had to come home and tell you, but then you told me you were having an emotional relationship with another guy from Kentucky.
I felt bad because I was like, well, he's telling me maybe I have to tell him. That was the roughest part of our. That was the first year we were married.
No, we were 22.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we weren't 25. I was 22.
We were 22.
We were young. We'd only been married less than a year.
Less than a year. It was the hardest year of our whole relationship. And
just
we
to give
were
you perspective, we're 43 now. Well, she's
Yeah.
43, I'm 42.
So we let's give him more information
Yes.
about this, because we had a lot of outside influences within our marriage that really was like fucking shit up.
Well, you know, you can't, when you get married, you gotta bust through from your nest of your parents, and a lot of times your parents will probably think, you know, they know better for you, and they may be third party to, maybe they just don't like your wife or they don't like your husband. You've heard of the in-laws from hell, right? You know, and that kind of happens a lot in marriage, and when you get married, you kind of have to do your own thing. And I think I hear a lot of younger people struggle
And you
with
need
that.
to do your own thing, because if you don't do your own thing and other people are telling you you need to do it this way and that way, it gets complicated. And then it's like you feel like you're trying to please other people on the outside of your marriage, and then you realize between you two you're miserable. And then you start to look at things and you're like, wait, we're not miserable. The outside sources and their drama is what's creating
first and
misery.
foremost, you shouldn't be listening to your parents anymore.
Correct.
Once you get out of the nest and you're married, it's your life.
Yeah.
And I think and I'm probably struggling with that with my kids. When they get married, I'll probably still be trying to tell them what to do. I think it's just the natural wanting to protect your kids, and sometimes it's harmful, right?
Well, it was causing us to
but
go opposite way.
Before that too, I had a drug problem. You know, I was put on Adderall when I was 7 years old until I was ADD. So I was basically a drug addict going into high school just by default, because I had been put on prescription. And for you guys that got kids that are ADD or supposedly that's not a disorder, that's a gift, right? But they drug these kids like they do now. And I've been put on psychotropic drugs, you know, since I was 7. So naturally, by the time I got into high school, I was like a zombie. I didn't know who I was, where I was going. My personality was all whacked out.
You were looking for the next fix.
Yeah, and my body was addicted to speed, right? So that kind of dovetailed me into getting into other drugs, street drugs. And by the time I was 22, we got married. I was a full-blown just, you know, ecstasy, cocaine, drugs, partying, and then went through rehab, and then we started working through all our problems.
Yes, and we started having a realization, like these outside sources, the drugs, all these things, and a lot of it was just like, okay, if we cut all of that shit out, like what we have, like our base of our relationship is great. So once we got rid of all that drama, it was like, okay, it's just me and you, and we're good.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I would tell you, because this kind of sums up what I would, and we're going to talk to you about a few other things, but when you're young, you're stupid, right? And that's what you understand for you young guys. Maybe you're 22 and you watch this and you're married. You don't have enough wisdom about life yet to even call it quits in your marriage. You're calling it quits before you even know the game, the rules, the consequences, the ramifications of you deserting on your loved one before you even try to fight through it. And that's what I'm going to tell you, is you got to fight through a lot of things. And the way you fight is you work on yourself. For one, you do personal development together. And if the other person doesn't want to do personal development, then you do personal development, and the other person will get better by default by you working on yourself. That is a fact. That's kind of what we did, right? And then I would tell you, after you work on yourself, you know, secondly, you need to stop. You gotta stop being so selfish, right? When you're young, you're selfish, right? And I think for even both of us were very selfish. I would say you were more selfish than I was at that age, but you kind of grew out of that. And once you become selfless and you think about the other person more than yourself, then you can start growing together, because we all, when we're young, we all about ourselves, and we need attention, and we're victim mentality and this and that, and this one's not doing this. But stop being selfish and give value to the other person. Like when I was young, I did everything for my wife and kids, right? And as I got older and I grew, I realized that marriage is not what you've been taught in school, you know, in the movies, especially the movies. It ain't a fucking Cinderella story. Marriage is a constant fight and compromise and give and take of helping one another live a life together that's pursuant of the same higher goal, right? I remember when we were 25, 24 maybe. Maybe I was, no, I think we were 23. we were finally starting to get our shit together, and we watched The Secret. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And
That was 2005.
Yeah, and we started writing down our goals. Once we started like getting out of our own way, we stopped playing games. That's another thing I kept trying to circle back in mind. You gotta get out of the playing of games. When you're young and you're 17 to 20.
But wait, you can play games, but you have to play them as a team.
I'm talking about the games of like.
No, I know, but instead of playing the outside games with your friends and all this other shit, make your life a game as like we are constantly working together as a team, him and I, and we created a game within our marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that's the shift you have to make from not married to married is like, okay, I was playing all those games before, but now the game is like relationship and empire building, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Once you get, and here's another thing we did right. We stopped hanging around our current friends that weren't doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And this is one of the main topics on talk. If you're entrepreneurial, this is more for an entrepreneurial couple marriage. If your friends are not entrepreneurial, and they're not trying to live trying to make a bunch of money like you are. Like, some people are just not interested in money. That doesn't motivate them. Money motivates me. It's my game. I love to make money. I love to build businesses. I love to buy real estate and build wealth. I just like that. It's no difference.
It has to become your focus.
Yeah. But if your friends are not doing that.
Exactly. That's not their focus. So they can do stupid shit and you don't have time for that.
You need to disconnect, right? Find another group. I literally disconnected from all of my friends that weren't doing the same thing I was doing. I just focused on my business. And from 22 to, up until now, like we just started, maybe the past 3 years we started doing really well. And it took 20 years to really get a lot of traction in business and buying real estate. But for us, you go through phases and you go through seasons. The first phase is just, the first 2 to 4 years is trying to stay married. Right, as an as an entrepreneurial couple, and so you're not fighting and cheating on one another, doing stupid shit. The next phase is try not to go bankrupt while you're running your business, while you're still raising kids.
Yeah, your kids are young. You're sleep deprived.
You're just starting businesses, and it's tough, and you're working 6,
That's
7.
the toughest part.
It was 20. I'd say 25 to 30. 34, 35. That 10-year gap, 25 to 35 was probably the toughest because we had 5 kids.
For us,
and we were running businesses, and it was nonstop. So you have to know where you're at in cycles and phases, and
you have to give a lot of grace to your other person. We were in survival mode.
Survival mode, and you got to soldier through.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just quit on one. You got to soldier through and know that things will get better.
Yeah.
And as you make more money, you invest into the marriage to get back more time. Okay, meaning if you start making a lot of money, hire a nanny to help out with the kids, to help your wife if you got that many kids. Then what you want to do after you hire a nanny, you start making a lot more money, you want to look at maybe homeschooling. We started homeschooling about 7 years ago?
5.
5 years ago. And that was a game changer. I wish we'd have did that sooner. So as you make money from 25 to 35, reinvest all that into helping your wife, along with helping. Obviously, we invested all our money back into our business. We invested money back into our personal development. But it's trying to keep all that.
But it's a well-oiled machine. So, like, you need other people to help you oil that machine.
You need a team.
Yeah, you need a village.
Not just with the business, but with the kids.
That's right.
And then you guys don't need to be, like, cleaning your own car, cleaning your own, house. That's like not the highest and best use of your time. And I'm not speaking from a W-2 person that, has that time. They get off at 5 and they don't have anything to worry about besides their kids. When you own a business like me, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop for Christmas. It doesn't stop for New Year's. It doesn't stop for Thanksgiving. It's nonstop. So you can't be cutting your grass. I haven't cut my grass in 25 years? No, 20 years.
20 years.
Probably stopped cutting my grass when I was 22 years old because I didn't have time. It wasn't the highest and best. I could pay somebody $30, $40 to cut my grass, and I can go do a job and make $200 back then. So you got to start having these conversations with yourself and auditing your time and knowing what's most important, and then take that extra money, invest it back into the marriage to help your wife get past the baby stage. Now, some women don't want any help. She didn't want help for years because she wanted to raise all the babies. It took till like we had the 5th kid. And I'm going to be honest with you, she almost had a nervous breakdown with our 5th kid.
It was a lot.
It was a lot, right?
I finally was like, okay, I'm willing to accept help.
Get some help, yes. And we don't recommend having 5 kids and have a bunch of business. Well, maybe I do. It was fun. Looking back at
Look, you have to be tough.
Yeah, you got to be mentally tough.
Yeah, you can't be weak-minded and try to do what we do. I'll be honest. Like,
Yeah.
it took a lot of hustle.
Yeah.
And still does.
And I can tell you, you have to run the marriage like a business, right? It has to be ran just like a business.
We all have jobs.
We all have jobs.
We each have our responsibilities.
And we hold each other accountable. And we're hard on each other. I'm hard on Patti. She can tell you. I'm not. I don't sugarcoat stuff. When she's fucking up, I tell her she's fucking up, and she tells me too if I'm acting like a lowlife.
Yeah.
Like but that's how it's got to be, and you hold each other accountable. And we're gonna wrap up this video with this. If you want your marriage to last, being married for 25 years, having 5 kids, running businesses, implement everything we just talked about. Good communication, investing back into the marriage, investing back into the kids, homeschool, all that stuff, right? But if you don't want to blow your marriage up, stop cheating on your wife or your husband. I've seen this time and time again. More than half of our friends cheated. They all got divorced. Because once you cross that line and you cheat, there's no coming back. It don't matter if your other partner doesn't know. You know.
Yeah, it's toxic.
So then you just have this in the back of your mind, and you make up reasons just to leave your husband or wife because you have the guilty conscience. Or you cheat maybe for 5, 10 years, or then you get clean and you cheat again. But I would tell you, don't have any secrets. Build a marriage where you're both building wealth together and heading in the right direction. And I'm telling you, if you just have clean hands, you have a commonality of goals where we're both trying to build wealth, and you can both pursue that and not be hard-headed and support one another. It's probably one of the best things you can say that you did in life is to have a successful business and marriage long-term. I know I'm 40, I'll be 43. And maybe another 40 years I'll be 83. Hopefully I live longer than that. But I'm probably most proud of not just the business I've started, not just the real estate, but the marriage and life we've created with our kids, the lifestyle we have. We're here in Destin, Florida, about to put on a mastermind, a real estate mastermind called Allies. And we could do this. We do this every quarter, and we get to travel the world, hang out with awesome people. But we have an amazing life. But it took 20 years, right? It's not like something that. But anyway, I just want to give you guys some perspective. Patti, do you have anything to say before that we wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think you're right about everything. And I think the reason why we did so well is we were not scared to communicate.
Yeah.
If we felt a certain way, we let each other know. And we both gave each other grace with maybe things we didn't agree with or understand, but at least we got it out, and we both agreed.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but the more you hide, the more you can hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not marriage counselors. We just have a lot of marriage wisdom and marriage experience.
And we just kept on doing the right thing. Like, it could be as simple as that. Just keep on doing the right thing. Like, just keep on baby steps doing the right thing.
And if you don't like something about your wife, you tell them. You don't want to. Unspoken expectations will kill marriages too. Like, hey, if you don't like something she does, like I tell her the shit she does, I tell her all the time. Hey, you do this, I don't like it. I tell you that all the time. You tell me shit all the time that you don't like. But you got to make yourself. You can't just hold that shit in. And massive, over the top, obnoxious communication, whether it hurts their feelings, upsets them or not, I think is the way to go. And keep.
I work well with tough love, though.
Yeah, tough love works. So I hope this helps. If you like it, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Real Estate Rood on Instagram, at Chris Rood on Facebook.
And I'm on Living the Real Estate Life on Instagram, and on Facebook, I'm Patti Rood.
And hey, if you need real estate coach, I'm not a marriage coach yet. I don't think I'll get into that marriage. That would be too much. But if you need help with your real estate game or business game, go to chrisrood.com, book a call with me, or inbox me on social media if you need help, and I'd love to help you. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Otherwise.